Check, check, and good morning to everybody. Can you see my screen okay, and can you hear me okay? How are we doing? Let's see who we got in here. Mr. B&B, good morning. JC, Roy, Ryan, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, we are live today. This is AMD, by the way. I'm sure you've probably seen this. The gap up with the news, due to the news with Meta. But we will come back to this one. And we'll start with SPY. So let's go ahead and put AMD on the watch list because we know that that's going to make the list. But we're gonna begin with SPY. And let's see what we're given. So we know that this has been in a wider range, right? And yesterday looks like tried to break down from the range, but because of it opening closer to the resistance, by the time it got down to the support, seems like sellers were exhausted. Buyers kind of stepped in, and it established a new point of support at $680 roughly. So we zoom out, and then this is what we're looking at this morning. So I think it does make sense if we're going to go short on SPY today to just look for a break of, this is the daily, so I flipped to the daily time frame. So I think it makes sense that if we're going to go short on SPY today, we're going to look for a break of this range, which has actually kind of already started to happen, but SPY didn't close down here yesterday. That was just the low. That was just the swing low, which is good because that gives us a break of 680 would give us confirmation that this is selling. And then your next price target here is going to be 675. And then below that, that's the big range. A break of 675, watch out below. We could definitely see this drop down to like 660, maybe 655, maybe even 650. Probably not in one day, but over a series of days. So back to the 5-minute time frame. Today I like SPY as a short idea underneath $680. That is going to be a break of the low of day from yesterday. And so the long level here, now this is where it gets tricky because I don't like to trade inside of ranges. And if we're identifying all of this here as a range, that would mean that I'm not interested in going long on SPY until it gets to 690, right? Which is mostly true. That is the case. But for SPY to get to 690 today, could it happen? Yes, because we had that big move yesterday. So could SPY get to 690 today? Yes. But by the time it gets there, do we think that it can break and go further? Realistically, probably not. That doesn't seem, I mean, that's a big move, right? So I feel like by the time SPY gets to 690, buyers are going to be exhausted. Probably won't get anything beyond that. So the only other thing that we could do if we're going to take advantage of a move topside is go long above your pre-market high at 685, which isn't a terrible decision. But like I said, I don't like trading within the range because, well, where's the resistance overhead? Right? There's so many different price points here that are relevant that it just makes it difficult for us to get clean movement, I think. My fear would be, if we go long at 685, my fear would be we get, kind of this choppy-ish price action just above. So I think I'm debating on, I think I'm just going to leave it off. I don't think that I'm going to set a long level there. If you are a SPY trader and you want to be aggressive on this, long at 685 and run it. But I tend to lean more towards the conservative side when setting these levels. And the only way that I'm setting a long level is if it's going to be at 690, and it's not anywhere near that price point right now. So I think that I'm removing it. No long level on SPY today, which is pretty rare. Typically I can feel comfortable setting 2 levels there, but just not today. Microsoft, next one on the watch list. What a drop yesterday. I mean, wow. And we had probably one of the best entries that you could possibly get on this, beyond buying in the first minute. We took our short entry over here and we're able to capitalize on a move down. Kind of missed out on a little bit of profit margin, but this gave us all the confirmation that we needed yesterday. So I love this idea. I love this trade idea for a continuation move lower today. I am going to put Microsoft as a side chart item because we are only looking for one thing, and yesterday's sell-off was pretty aggressive. So my concern is that because it had an aggressive sell-off, maybe this makes not that much of a recovery move, but maybe makes a little bit of a bounce or consolidation move today. Maybe not a lower low. I don't know. Maybe so. But I don't think that this is immediately going to be something that we have to watch because it is pushing up right now. So Microsoft, we're going to set this as a side chart. It's a continuation watch from what we've already been looking for and analyzing. Microsoft short below $383. Looking for the break of yesterday's low of day and also your pre-market low right here. Up next is Apple. Apple actually showed some relative strength yesterday. I was looking at Apple as potentially a long idea. I think at 266 we were debating on, which would have worked, but I didn't. I wound up not setting that level. So here's the deal on Apple. We got to look for the higher high, and the high that we got to look for a break on is 269 or 269 and a half. Back to the daily time frame. This kind of consolidation range, it's a reclaim of the 50 EMA, the move higher. Can we get the follow through back up to the top side from here? So that'll be the big question today. I don't think we have to worry so much about this 43 cents right here. Let's just drop that off the back of this, and we're going to go long at 269 on Apple if it gives us the continuation top side. So Apple, probably add this as a side chart for right now, only because we're looking for one thing, long above 269. AMD, next one on the watch list. Yeah, without a doubt, this makes the list. The news here, if you don't know, AMD shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Meta to deploy 6 gigawatts of its GPUs. A huge partnership here. We watch for a continuation, and in a lot of cases for continuations you would just go long at the pre-market high, but I don't think that we have to wait for AMD to get there for us to take advantage of this move. For one, by the time it gets there, it's already going to be a 4% move, and we can definitely take advantage of that. So let's move this down. Maybe 220, maybe I don't think I'd go any more aggressive than that. Maybe 218, 219. We expect to see increased volatility. So even if this is a couple percent away, look, up to 220, 1.6% away, normally that would be too far, but we're expecting increased volatility because of the news catalyst. So long at 220, I think, is pretty safe. Long at 218 is as aggressive as I would be on this. We may have to adjust this too as this continues to move, but I want to give this some flex room because, like I said, we expect to see increased volatility, and what I don't want to see at the open is this move up enough above 218 to fake people out and then come right back down. I don't think that this is news that would cause this stock to sell, though. This is almost as good as it gets when it comes to a news catalyst, almost so good that we could think about breaking the rules and trading this earlier than what we normally would, meaning trading it within the first 5 minutes. But we'll make that decision after market open when we're doing the live trading together. So as of right now, I'm just going to be a little more conservative with this to give this some flex room so that we're not getting faked out. AMD long above 220, and here's our comments for it. We're going to say this is a continuation watch from the morning gap up due to a positive reaction to a news catalyst. And I don't need to put what the news is because you can just go look that up if you really need to know. I'm actually going to move this up here. All right, Tesla. Oh, so with that, maybe we should check out Meta, right? Okay, so Meta's down. This is so strange to me, but you'll see this happen quite often when a company announces a partnership with another company, one usually rises and the other one usually falls. It doesn't happen all the time like that, but a lot of times that is the case. So I don't know that there's anything here that's high probability on Meta, except for it does get interesting down at 626 where this gap is. If we extend this gap over to the right, it'll look something like that. But Meta's not, if this was the pre-market low down here, yeah, we could look for the gap filled trade idea, but this is not trading near this gap right now. It's a 1.5% away, so let's just keep alert set at 626. I don't think that we put Meta on the list. We're going to rock with AMD only. Tesla. Our next stock on the watch list. I've been waiting for a directional move out of this range, outside of this range here. So this is the daily range right there. Yesterday, you got the breakdown move below 405 and below the $400 hold number. Closed right at 400 and a perfect bounce off of that 200 EMA on the daily. That's important. That's important because that 200 EMA is going to be a dynamic point of support, right? And that's what we're seeing here with this bounce, as well as your hold number at 400. So where do we go long on this? Well, if the breakdown of the range was at 405, then a reclaim of the range would be 405. So Tesla would be a long above 405. But this doesn't really look like something we would want to take long, right? Because it's breaking down. So I think the best way to approach this today is to look for a break of yesterday's low of day and a continued rejection of 400. Now, if you wanted to be aggressive on this, you could go short at like 396 or maybe 397 possibly, right? You could do that. But if you do that, keep in mind, you're going short at 397. Your support is going to be yesterday's low of day, and that is only 0.79% profit margin. So you're kind of limited on profit margin if you're taking this trade any earlier than 394. It's fine to do that if you want to be aggressive on the short. I'm just saying you need to be aware that you might not get as much profits as you would want, or as we normally would look for, right? If we trade options, you may not get 20%, depending on which options contracts you select. You may not get 20% from 396 to 394. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I would rather not risk it. So I need true confirmation. I want to see the break of 400. I don't think that I would go long on this. Some of you might say, well, the reclaim of 400 is the reclaim at the whole number and it's a recovery move. We can go long at 401. You know, if you want to set a long level here, be my guest. This doesn't look like a setup that I would want to go long on, though. And that's just personal preference. Try to trade with the direction of the stock, not against it. That's the best way that my strategy works. There are reversal moves that we can look for. There are rules in the watch list training channel that help you out if you are a reversal trader. So you could utilize those rules to figure out, you know, if the stock is reversing, you could take it in the opposite direction. But mostly, my strategy works best when we're looking for continuations. And so that's what I'm going to do today on Tesla. It's a short idea under 394. I know it feels like it's far away from that price point right now, but look at this big move it made yesterday. Tesla can easily get to 394 and drop below and give us enough profit margin. So I'm going to put this as a side chart for right now because we're only looking for the one thing. And we'll come back and shift these around. There's just kind of placeholders for right now. All right, Hood. Next one on the watch list. Wow, what a fantastic drop yesterday on Hood. This was another one that we took advantage of yesterday. Got our short position on Hood. Fantastic breakdown of the range on the daily. So here's your daily time frame. We'll zoom in. This is your range. It's hard to say that that's a range, actually, but maybe you just want to say, okay, well, that could be like a bear pennant, possibly. Either way, it's breaking down. Who cares? The uptrend trend line is broken. This top trend line doesn't matter. So where is this trading at? The support roughly around $71 to $70 to $71. So back to the 5-minute time frame. Where is this at right now? Right at 71. So I think that we probably look for the break of the pre-market low. Let's split the difference here. So we're not going to go aggressive at 71, but we're not going to go conservative at 70. So we're splitting the difference. We're going to go short at 70.5. Do keep in mind that there is potential support on the daily at 70, so you may want to mark that price point there. So Hood short below 70.5. It's a continuation move to the bottom side. Let's see who else we got in here. Chitan, welcome in. Farzan, welcome in. Lee, Alex, Simon, Maria, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. All right, I had two potential names for the watch list today. The first one is PayPal. PayPal had an interesting pop move midday yesterday, and it did sustain the move. It did not sell off, but the thing is, after it popped, it didn't do anything either. It didn't pop and go. It just popped and stayed pretty stagnant. But it didn't sell off. So this could be good for a continuation today. I like it over 45. I know that there's a couple of little peaks above 45, but if we're looking for the confirmations that we normally look for, we should be able to navigate around that extra 69 cents right there. So I like PayPal above 45. And we'll put this as a side chart placeholder for now. And then our final one was Nvidia. Now this one pushed up to the resistance on the daily, and why I put a question mark around this one as a potential is because earnings is tomorrow. So this actually sells off, and my guess, this is just a total guess, but it could be accurate. My guess is AMD got the bid for Meta. That's competition for Nvidia. So that's why I think Nvidia would drop. So this now, it looked really good at 194. Let me show you why. Where this closed yesterday, look at all this resistance. We've been talking about Nvidia up here. All of this resistance at $194, and yesterday gave us another perfect test of that resistance. And so I was thinking, okay, well, if this opens up close to 194, boom, we get a break of that resistance. We could trade this before the earnings report for a potential breakout move. But the pullback this morning, it doesn't necessarily take it out of play, but it's not as in play as it was. So I'm going to set an alert at 194, and we are not going to add, I'm not going to add Nvidia to the watch list today. I'm just going to wait. I think we're just going to let this go today. We're going to let it go tomorrow and then just see what happens after the earnings report. I wouldn't be surprised to see this just consolidate into the earnings report. I mean, it's been how many months now, and this could not break 194. What's another 2 days, right? Hopefully I'm not making the wrong decision there. So set alerts at 194 just in case. This is still a good setup up there. But yeah, the gap down this morning kind of pulls that breakout move out of play a little bit. All right, so now we have to go through and figure out which one of these we're going to put on the main chart watch list. So we'll go Microsoft first. Okay, let's just do a quick glance back at everything. So we got Microsoft, we've got Apple, we've got Tesla. I think Tesla deserves to stay side chart. Hood, and PayPal. I think PayPal will stay side chart too. So Tesla stays side chart, and the reason why I say that is because it's not as close to the breakdown point as some of these other ones. And PayPal is just not as popular of a name as some of these other ones, though they're still decent setups. So we have three choices then between Microsoft, Apple, and Hood. Microsoft gave us the nice move, the nice drop yesterday, so we add this to the list for the continuation move down. So it's just going to be a short below. And we've already set our level at 383, so we can remove this here. And we'll look, let's say, watching for the comments. Watching for lower lows. Following the breakdown move yesterday. We don't have to be overly complicated with the analysis here. All right, and then Hood. I think we're going to go with Hood because it's the closest one to the breakdown point, and this one also is gapped down, so it's already giving you the continuation, right? So we're going to go Hood. Short below 70.5. And we're going to go through some other ones too. This is just a preliminary list. So we still have space to add a couple more if we want to. All right, Hood. Short below 70.5. Yeah, it's the same thing. So we'll say broke the uptrend trend line on the daily yesterday with the sell-off move. And today we watch for lower lows following the gap down. And it's not too much of a gap down, but it is already giving you a gap down. So somebody said, and Google, what about it? So there's nothing here on Google because your higher high would be at 320, right? And this was a really good setup yesterday with the gap up and all of that. It looked really good. It just did not give us the continuation. So for a continuation on Google, we would need to see a higher high, which would be a break of 320. Otherwise, if you're looking for a breakdown, it would maybe be at 310 or perhaps at 308. But this doesn't seem like a bearish setup to me necessarily. So I would primarily be looking to take it long. The problem with that is, well, it's not near 320, is it? Percentage-wise, Google would need to make a 2.5% move topside for you to even take a trade, and then it would need to move beyond that for you to profit. Could it happen? Yeah. Is it likely to happen? No, probably not. So I don't think Google there's nothing here to me that looks high probability. All right, let's keep rolling through our focus list and just see. I'm looking at the pre-market price action here, and I'm looking for, anything that looks out of the ordinary. Something that's maybe gapped up on higher volume, maybe something that has a news catalyst that I might have missed, something like AMD, for example. So we can get through these pretty quickly. By the way, we've had a fantastic, we are on a streak right now. I don't even remember the last time that we had a red day. Okay, this actually looks interesting. This is MU. What I see immediately is this flat top of resistance. It's not perfect, but it is a flat top area. So if we think of this whole zone up here as a resistance zone, MU is hitting that. And then if we look at this price action here, this is a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, all the way up, right? And so we draw this line like this into a flat top resistance. That, my friends, is a proper ascending triangle. Do you see it on the daily too? Yes. So this is that same area of resistance. We can just pull that back, right? So MU, and we can even extend this down further too. MU, ascending triangle formed right here. In the guides channel, if you don't know what an ascending triangle is, you go to the guides channel here. This is what it is, right? And so you see the formation there. So it's a rally up into a flat line of resistance with a series of higher lows, and then we're just looking for the breakout point here. Your next price target on MU is going to be the 450 whole number, and then beyond that, you start to look for the all-time highs at 455. So MU, could this be something that we put on the watch list today? Yeah, definitely. I would need to see a break of 432 though. But this price action has been so choppy that I'm kind of hesitant about look at how choppy this is, right? I'm kind of hesitant about putting this on the watch list, but MU can make really clean moves on a breakout day. So perhaps this is worth a watch. Let's just set an alert at 432, and we're going to put a placeholder on the focus list, MU over 432. And if we find something better, we'll replace it. But as of right now, that looks pretty decent. Ascending triangle breakout. This was not in play yesterday with where it closed, but the gap up this morning does put it in play. And that is why it's so important that you conduct what is known as cross time frame analysis, where you're looking at multiple time frames when you're doing analysis to be able to see different things. Because look, on the daily time frame, we don't see that gap up. We don't see that MU is trading up here. So if we only use the daily time frame for our analysis, we miss the fact that it's very close to the breakout point. That's why it's important. Use multiple time frames when analyzing for trades. All right, let's keep rolling. And again, we can go through this stuff pretty quickly. All that I'm looking for is something like this, right? Something that looks out of the ordinary, something that gapped up or gapped down like crazy, something that has high volume, something that maybe I didn't see on the daily time frame, or perhaps I missed it yesterday. We have a pretty full list already, so I'm not hard-pressed to continue to add things. I would be fine just posting what I have, but you know, we always have to check because maybe there's something better out there, something that looks better. But yeah, so back to what I was saying, we're on a hot streak. We've been trading in the flow state. I can't remember the last time that we even had a red day. We've been doing so good. PLTR actually looks pretty decent for a breakdown. I was looking at this too. We might add this. So PLTR, the low here is 126. So this is actually, so PLTR is actually the opposite of what the ascending triangle is. PLTR is the opposite, so it's a descending triangle. So rather than having a flat line of resistance, you've got a flat line of support. And then rather than having a series of higher lows, you've got a series of lower highs. And so if we were to flip this chart, right? Now look at it. If we were to flip the chart, boom. Now doesn't that look like a potential breakout move? Right? Doesn't that look like the ascending triangle? Yes. So PLTR, let's go 5-minute time frame. Where is this? Let's go back to the regular chart. Where is this trading at? It is a gap down. 126 we said is the true breakdown point. Ooh, do we go? Okay, so that would be a proper lower low. Maybe we go 127 under yesterday's low of day with the understanding that potential support is at 126. PLTR under 127. I like this one. Let's put it on the list for right now. PLTR below 127. Let's put it on the list for now, and then we're going to keep going and we'll come back to it. Apple, we've already talked about. But yeah, so back to the point. Every time I try to make this point, we keep finding new stuff. We've had a green streak. We're on a green streak. We've been doing really, really well, and it is easy when you're trading well and when you're making money. It is easy to get complacent. And I know that I'm talking to a lot of you right now that are green because I've been polling the Discord server and you've all been answering that you've been green, green, green. So unless everybody is lying to me, we are all pretty much on a streak right now. And it's very easy when you're winning to get complacent and forget about the basics. So today, I just want to remind you to remember the basics. Don't get you can get overconfident. You can let your ego get in the way. You can get overzealous when you're taking trades, and that's how mistakes happen. So when you're taking your positions today, just remember you've been on a good streak. Not everything is going to continue to work. You know, that red day is coming. That loss is going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to be today. I'm not trying to fear monger anybody here, but we just need to stay on our toes. We just need to stay on our toes and continue to make sure that we're following the rules as best as possible. We're following our risk management as best as possible. And if we're in a trade and it doesn't work, don't let that ego get in the way, right? And make sure that if we have to cut it, let's cut it quick. Keep that loss minimal, and that way we can move on and make that money back very easily. All right, so here is our list. I'm actually going to put PLTR on the main chart because I just really like that setup for a potential breakdown. So let's go back to it. Do we want to go short at 126 or 127 is the big question here. 127 is a break of yesterday's low of day and the pre-market low, but 126 is a break of the support on the daily. Yeah, that's 2.5% away almost. So if anything, I'm going to be closer to this than further. So short at 127 is going to be the level. We're going to say a descending triangle is formed on the daily time frame. And the gap down this morning puts this name close to the support of the triangle or of the pattern. Right, and then so it's just understood that we're going to be looking for a break of that pattern. So here is your full watch list for the day. One more quick review of everything. Make sure our levels are good, and then we're going to get this posted. So SPY, we're only looking to take this short. That's the only thing that I'm setting is a short at 680, so that looks good. Then we've got Microsoft below 383. That looks good. AMD above 220. That looks good. I think that AMD just has to be our top stock pick of the day. Our hand is kind of forced here because, for one, AMD is so popular. It is such a popular name. This is actually a really good news catalyst. It's a partnership with another major name, and the stock is up, percentage-wise, it's up 9% right now and ran as far as being, 15%. So there's a lot of profit margin to take advantage of here. AMD is already a good mover without a news catalyst, and this just adds to the fire here. So I think AMD is our top stock pick of the day. I'm setting my level at 220. If you want to be aggressive, you can set it at 218. I would not take a position any earlier than that, though. Hood, short below 70.5, looks good. Then we got PLTR for the descending triangle breakdown on the daily under 127. Looks good. We've got Apple above 269. Looks good. We've got Tesla below 394. Looks good. Feels a little out of play, but Tesla can make big moves, so we'll see what happens. PayPal over 45. We'll see if this gets any volume or follow through from yesterday's gap up intraday. And then we've got MU, last one on our list, ascending triangle breakout above 432. This one, if other things are moving, I would trade other things. MU is probably my least favorite pick, only because it's just the past 2 days have been so choppy. There's money to be made here for sure. I mean, these are big moves, big swings, but it's just not giving you directional follow-through. So my hope is that on a break of that resistance area, we get a nice clean move like this. So we'll see what happens. All right, there is your full watch list for the day. Let me get this posted in the Discord server. By the way, if you are new to the team, welcome in. We are going to be trading live today. Let me show you how to navigate there. So we don't do the live trading on YouTube because there's this delay that I can't control, and that's no good for us. We don't want delays. So in the Discord server, scroll all the way down to the bottom left-hand side. You're going to see a channel called The Arena. This is under the voice channels heading, The Arena. You're going to see people piling in the arena here. That is where we will conduct the live trading. So meet me over in the arena. I'm going to end this stream here now. Meet me in the arena. I'll be there. Give me like 10 minutes, and I'll be over there in the arena. We'll do a real quick review of the list before market open, and then we'll get to work. Good luck today. Wait for your proper confirmations. I hope you make some money. And one more thing, if you're not part of the Discord server yet and you want to be, I'd recommend that you get in sometime this week. I am not allowing new members in after this week. We're starting the next account challenge next week, and I want to work with the current team that I have before I start allowing new people in. And once I feel that my current team is up to par with understanding the concepts that are taught here and how we trade here, once I feel that, collectively as a group, everybody's good to go, I'll start allowing new members in. But who knows how long that's going to be. So if you want to be in for the next account challenge, I'd recommend that you join this week. Not allowing new members in after this week. I'll probably say this 50 times. All right. I'll see you over in the Discord server. Thank you for your time this morning. I hope the analysis helped. Good luck today, and go make some money, my friends. AMD top stock pick of the day. Watch it over 220. All right. Cheers.